Standing by is David Zervos. He's Jefferies chief market strategist and a CNBC contributor to react to what we've heard. And it sounds like the Supreme Court has some concerns here, Dave. What happens if they, I'm trying to think how to phrase this right, don't allow it to proceed? Is that the way that it would happen if they don't allow the firing to proceed?
Sounds like from the commentary and what Steve was saying that's the market's assessment at this stage. I don't think that's a huge surprise, Kelly. I think most people thought it was a long shot that the court would get more aggressive here. But, you know, you asked Steve what his biggest surprise in all this was. Kelly, my biggest surprise was that Jay Powell went to the hearing. I found that, just like the Treasury Secretary, to be a very surprising thing to do. I think you want some oversight. You want to kind of make sure that the courts and what they're doing is independent, if you will, and sort of putting the thumb on the scale, as Scott said. I just think it sends a bad message. It sends a message of trying to bully things around, and I'm not sure I like that one. That's what surprised me.
Yeah, I mean, I think what you're saying is there's almost like by being there, he's sort of saying, like, I'm watching you or something to that extent. I mean, but he, ever since his message to the public after the DOJ case, he seems to be less concerned. I mean, he's in the waning months here, and I think he seems to be acting like someone who's just kind of fed up with the direction that everything has been going, and therefore thinks there's really not much to lose by trying to sort of act a little bit more muscular in what he sees as situations that are unjust. I mean, I'm speculating. I have no idea why. If there's maybe a completely different reason he showed up, but that's the vibe I'm getting from him, certainly.
I think that's right, and I think he'll be celebrated in a lot of circles where where people will pay for him to come speak for very large amounts of money, celebrated as someone who saved the sanctity of the Fed, and that's kind of, as you said, there's not a lot to lose. There's just a couple meetings left. He's not fighting for anything real, so he can sort of build up that momentum as he leaves and he goes on to greener pastures.
Do you know what I find most, I'll jump in. What I find most surprising, not about this case, which of course has bigger implications for Fed policy and the board, but the real developments to me, it seems, Dave, over the past 4 to 6 weeks have been on the economic front, perhaps on the inflation front as well. And I understand where you're coming from with the pushback and that the labor market's still weak and rates should still come down. But the market seems to be moving against that a little bit. And I'd just love to hear your reaction to, like, if Powell really wanted, to create some buzz around his departure, hiking rates or talking about hiking rates would be the biggest narrative violation that we've had in years here with all the pressure that's on him.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that last time after your interview with my friend over at JP Morgan. And I know there's other banks that have different views. I really don't understand the big hoopla about the inflation story. The CPI is sitting at 2.7. It's way, way down. It's on a downward trajectory. There's a lot of disinflationary pressure coming from all of this technology, and we're seeing that manifest itself in a very weak labor market in particular parts, especially for the younger generation that's coming out and looking for jobs. I think the Fed has really kind of skipped a beat here on its dual mandate with regards to the labor side. As you know, the unemployment rate has risen over a full percentage point over the last 3 years as inflation has come down and gotten really close to that target range. I think there's a lot of folks looking at metals and other stories as inflation signs and the end of globalization. But the big and tariffs, you had that guest on earlier, the big inflation driver is still technology, productivity, and the human mind and innovation. That's really the biggest disinflationary driver over many, many decades, centuries. So I'm going to stick with my long-term views that this is a real productivity boom that really brings with it some potential creative destruction in labor markets. That's something we have to watch for political reasons as well as economic reasons.
Quickly then.